Hey y'all, this is Southern Woods here. Welcome back to the play-in tournament finale for the video game franchise tournament. Alright, winner of this finale gets to be the last seed with the big dogs in the video game franchise world. Alright, so if you haven't seen round 1 or 2, I highly suggest that you do, because we're in the Great 8 moving on to the championship. Alright, the right to move on to the real big tournament. So the first matchup we're going to do, again, Great 8 will be best out of 5 still, but then the Final 4 onwards will be best out of 7. We are starting with the number 1 seed Super Smash Bros. Against the 8th seed Elder Scrolls. Alright, and we are starting off with Category 7, which is going to be character popularity. If there's a popular character here, they will likely get a point. So Elder Scrolls does have a top 50 popular character in video game franchises, and that is Alduin, which is ranked 43rd all time. Super Smash Bros. Does not. You'd think Mario would be, but he's not, because he's from a different Mario franchise. All right, so Elder Scrolls goes up 1-0, getting a lucky point against Super Smash Bros. Now we have Category 9, which is going to be soundtrack for these two. Elder Scrolls, they won with this last round. They're going to win with this again, all right? Very good composition, very good soundtrack. Super Smash Bros. Very iconic as well. Vast collection of remixed and original tracks. However, Elder Scrolls, definitely better. They're going up 2-0, threatening to sweep Super Smash Bros. Starting out in this finale. So now hit me with that like button, because I know you're excited, and this is Category 17. So that's going to be awards between these two franchises. Super Smash Bros., probably the most prestigious in this tournament. Numerous awards, including Best Fighting Game via multiple publications, Best Fighting Game of 2019 as well as other awards, very numerous awards. The only other game franchise that comes close is, well, the Elder Scrolls, especially Skyrim has won numerous multiple Game of the Years awards. I just can't speak right now, but what I'm trying to say is Super Smash Bros. A little bit more in terms of the accolades. So they're down 2-1. We got Category 15 now. Category 15 is going to be the difficulty. Well, let me tell you what. Elder Scrolls, complex mechanics, deep understanding of character and character builds. Super Smash Bros., it has some difficulty to it, but not to the same level. So I have to give the point here to the Elder Scrolls. They win 3-1, moving on to the Final Four. Super Smash Bros., number 1 seed, is out of here. All right, the next matchup we have is the 12th seed Far Cry against the 4th seed Dragon Ball. All right, and we're starting off with Category 2, which is going to be player and critic rating. Dragon Ball, 73%, one of the worst in this tournament. Meanwhile, Far Cry, 91%. Far Cry gets the quick point here, going up 1-0. All right, next up is Category 1, which is going to be revenue, what they're seated upon. Far Cry has generated $51 million, but Dragon Ball, $66.5 million. So Dragon Ball now ties it up 1-1. Next up, we have Category 8. Category 8 is going to be storyline. All right, so the more complex storyline, the better. Dragon Ball, hugely popular. A lot going on with it in the story, and so many different arcs and character development. So Dragon Ball is definitely going to one-up Far Cry, although Far Cry has to do with a lot about the impact of tyranny and rebellion and different exotic locations. Each game offers its own unique standalone story, but I still got to give the nod here to Dragon Ball, going up 2-1. All right, next up we have Category 11. Category 11 is going to be innovation. So gaming innovation between these two. Far Cry, known for the open world design, player freedom, dynamic gameplay events, especially Far Cry 3 really set the new standard, not only for the series, but similar games like it. Meanwhile, Dragon Ball, it's just a fighting adaptation of the anime and manga series, and honestly doesn't have much in terms of innovation to the video game world. So Far Cry is going to tie this up 2-2. All right, next category. We have category 12. And category 12 is going to be multiplayer experience. So Far Cry, it is known for, a pretty good co-op multiplayer expansive open world gameplay that you can play with, a whole team and explore the world together, which is very good, very nice. Dragon Ball, mainly fighting games, have strong multiplayer component as well. However, I feel like Far Cry is a more fun teamwork co-op experience, and I think there's a little bit more to it. So I'm giving the nod here to Far Cry, who is going to have the chance now to compete in the Final Four while Dragon Ball and Goku are out of here. All right, next up we have the 3rd seed Civilization against the 11th seed Street Fighter. And the first category we're going to draw is 2, that gamer/critic rating. So Civilization 91%, meanwhile Street Fighter 90%. Civilization gets the nod here, going up 1-0. And now the next category will be 16, the modding community. First time we are getting that today between these two. Civilization, it has a big, expansive, dedicated modding community where you could create new civilizations, scenarios, gameplay tweaks, all right, especially Civilization 4 and 5 in particular have very extensive mods available. A lot more than Street Fighter, which does have a niche modding community, especially with, the skins and some gameplay tweaks, but definitely Civilization, they go up 2-0. Next up, we have category 1. What a brutal killer. Civilization revenue, $70 million. Street Fighter's revenue, even though they've been around a little bit longer, I think, and have much more games, $53 million only. So Civilization sweeps Street Fighter 3-0, moving on to the Final Four. Street Fighter, you fought the good fight, but you've been knocked out. Really can't speak today, y'all. I'm so sorry. All right, next up, we have a couple of lower seeds, a couple of Cinderella stories duking it out. The 23rd seed Fallout and the 18th seed BioShock, who will move on to the Final Four. We start with category 7, which is going to be character popularity. Fallout does have a popular character in Dogmeat, which ranks 39th most popular video game franchise character. All right, BioShock also has a popular character in Big Daddy, which is ranked 26th. So BioShock's going to get the nod here, going up 1-0. Next up, we have category 9. Category 9 is going to be the soundtrack between these two, BioShock and Fallout. Fallout, the 40s, 50s music, unique experience, as well as some, orchestral tracks. BioShock, composed by Gary, you know his name, Gary, features, an eerie atmosphere. The music complements the dystopian setting. Pretty good, but I'm going to give the nod here to Fallout. I like the soundtrack a little bit more here, so Fallout's going to get tied up 1-1. Next up is category 5. Category 5 is going to be the number of games in the series. BioShock has 4. Fallout has 9. Fallout's going to get the nod here, going up 2-1 against BioShock. Next up, we have category 12. Category 12 is going to be multiplayer between the two. Fallout 76 introduced multiplayer into the franchise, allowing players to explore and survive the wasteland together. Kind of mixed reviews over it, but it does have that to its name. Meanwhile, BioShock, really single player mainly. All right, very, few secondary multiplayer modes. So I'm going to give Fallout the nod here. They win 3-1 and they move on to the Final Four. BioShock is out of here. Y'all might be shocked to hear it. So we are now to the Final Four. All right, we have a 3rd seed, an 8th seed, a 12th seed, and a 23rd seed. So good mix actually here. Anyone has a shot to make it to the big grand tournament, and we shall see. All right, we start off with the 8th seed, The Elder Scrolls, against the 12th seed, Far Cry. This will be best out of 7, so first to 4 points will win. And we're starting with category 1, which is going to be revenue. Elder Scrolls, $58.5 million revenue. Far Cry, only $51 million. Elder Scrolls goes up 1-0. Next up, we have category 13. Category 13 is going to be film and book adaptations between the Elder Scrolls and Far Cry. Elder Scrolls has its own series with rich lore, expanded through novels. No big film adaptation, although there's a lot of potential for it. Meanwhile, Far Cry, a few book adaptations and some strong narrative, but lacks any sort of film at all. So I'm going to give the nod here to the Elder Scrolls. They go up 2-0. Next up, we have category 3, which is my personal preference, actually. Big fan of Far Cry. Haven't played Elder Scrolls, so Far Cry gets a point here. Next up, as we roll, we're going to do category 5, which is going to be number of games in the series. Far Cry has 13 games. Meanwhile, the Elder Scrolls has 27, actually. A lot more than I thought. So they go up 3-1, threatening to win convincingly. But we shall see. It's now category 2, which is going to be critic and player rating. Elder Scrolls 93%, Far Cry 91%. So Elder Scrolls is going to go on to the championship here, winning pretty convincingly against Far Cry. I cry every time Far Cry is out of here. Now, who will face the Elder Scrolls and a chance to move on to the grand tournament? It'll either be the 3rd seed, Civilization, or the 23rd seed, pretty big Cinderella story, Fallout. And we're going to start with category 13 here, which is going to be the adaptations. Civilization inspired some educational books, believe it or not, and some documentaries. However, not much in terms of film and book adaptations. Meanwhile, Fallout has its own TV series now, so you can't beat that. Fallout gets to the point here. Next up, we have category 3. Once again, my personal preference. I've actually played Fallout 4 quite a bit. Enjoy it. Never played Civilization, although it has interested me, but I'm giving the point here to Fallout. Next up, we have category 7. Category 7 is going to be that player popularity or character popularity. Fallout has Dogmeat ranked 39th all time. Civilization don't have nothing. So Fallout actually threatening to sweep the 3rd seed here. Next up, we have one that flew away, which is going to be category 9. Category 9 is what we are going to do next, which will be soundtrack. And we already established Fallout has a solid soundtrack. Civilization has a decent one too, but Fallout definitely better. Fallout gonna sweep Civilization 4-0, moving on to the championship. Civilization is out. All right, it all comes down to this. First to 4 points, winner moves on to the grand tournament, getting to be the 32nd seed there. Will it be the 8th seed, The Elder Scrolls, or the 23rd seed, Fallout? Place your bets now. We are starting with category 1, a brutal one to pull in a championship matchup. Elder Scrolls, $58.5 million revenue. Fallout, only $38 million, so the Elder Scrolls gets the first point here. All right. Next up, we have category 2, 1 to 2, critic / player rating. Elder Scrolls average of 93%, which is really good, as we know, but Fallout also 93%. So we get to re-roll here. Next up, we have category 5, which is going to be total number of games in the series. Fallout with 9, Elder Scrolls with 27. So Elder Scrolls goes up 2-0. And now we have Category 16. Category 16 is going to be the modding community, actually. So we will see here, Fallout has a very, very strong modding community, particularly Fallout 3 New Vegas and Fallout 4 Vibrant. I mean, new quests, characters, graphical overhauls, very good modding community. The only one that I'd say beats it is the Elder Scrolls, all right? Especially Skyrim and Oblivion. Very extensive modding. You can mod almost every aspect of the game. So tough roll for Fallout. They would have beat nearly everyone else out on that. So they are down 3-0. Can they come back? We have Category 11 to help determine this. And Category 11 is going to be innovation. So which one's been more innovative here? Well, let's see. Fallout, known for the post-apocalyptic type setting, really innovated that type of game, as well as the moral choices implicated, as well as open world exploration, blending RPG and action very effectively, very innovative in that sense. But the Elder Scrolls really did push the boundaries in open world RPGs. All right, very expansive, big worlds with deep lore, player freedom, especially Skyrim. So as much as it hurts me, I'd love to see Fallout make it to the big dance. Elder Scrolls will, by sweeping Fallout 4-0, moving on to the grand tournament, which we will do at a later date. I hope you liked this play-in tournament. I hope the Elder Scrolls fans can really appreciate this, having a chance. And without further ado, y'all, hit me with the like button. If you want to see more of these tournaments, outdoor videos, or food reviews, hit me with that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Southern Woods out.